Digital product creation and listing resources on sites like Teachers Pay Teachers can feel like a blindfolded bowling match sometimes, but there are some amazing tools out there that are helping sellers like me build a store, and a more purposeful store at that, so that teachers can find the resources we need and that our resources don't sit on the shelves in their dark little corner of the internet. We want them to get used, right? So if this is something that you're kind of looking into today, I'm so excited to have Colleen with us from Sellerspy.co. You're going to love hearing about the ways Sellerspy is helping people. So Colleen, welcome. So glad you're here. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, would you mind starting us off by just telling us a little bit about yourself, how you got to this point in your career?
Sure. So I, professionally, background as in digital marketing and as a data analyst, and I started selling on TPT in 2022. I had already had my own website. I have little girls, and I'm a Girl Scout troop leader, and I was creating resources for leaders because I realized that, they're not really supported that much. So started on my own website, and I was like, hey, these could go on TPT. I see other people doing it. And then after, wanting to increase my earnings, I was looking for tools that helped TPT sellers with their rankings and keyword research. And I didn't really find anything. So I was like, scratch my own itch, and I created it myself. So that's kind of where we are now.
That's awesome. Well, I love that you had the skill set to bring that in, which is really cool. And so for a lot of us who kind of come from that classroom background and don't have the marketing type background, what do you think would be the right answer to this? Is there a right way to list a product? That's one of the mystery points for us as sellers. What does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, just like Google doesn't tell us what their algorithm is, we don't really know what TPT uses for their ranking algorithm, but we do have an idea, right? We do know that the title plays a part, the snippet plays a part. We think maybe conversion or sales or ratings all play a part. So that's what we're working off of. But we know ratings, we don't really have control over. That's a lag measure. Even sales and conversion, we can't force people to buy our products, but we do have a lot of control over that title and that description. And that's where using keywords and optimizing those two pieces, we can see results, and we do see results. People have you change your keywords up, and you'll see your ranking go up and down. So and that's why the tools primarily in Sellerspy, they focus on keywords and really giving data around the best ones.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you use the term snippet, could you define that real quick, just for somebody who's like, what? I thought it was just a description and a title. What's a snippet?
Yeah. So it's the first few lines of your description. And I forget the character length, because sometimes it varies based on, at least for me, what I see in the first page listing. So right under your product, when it shows up in a listing, you'll see about a sentence or two. So I usually say, the first two sentences to really focus on getting your keywords in those first two sentences, because that'll play a role.
Perfect. And quick story. I last week created a new product. And this is the first thing in a new product line. And so I was like, I'm going to play around a little bit, but I'm going to use Sellerspy. So I got on there, and it was so fun to play around with what I would search for it as, writing, space writing. And then there were, as I looked at the rankings, and we'll take a look at it later, but the two green lights and stuff. I was looking for 2 green lights on my keyword using the Sellerspy keyword research tool. And there were things that popped up in there that I wouldn't have even thought of. And then I was like, oh, wait, you could totally use that to search for this. And it's a 2 green light word. Let's do that. And so that's how I kind of built my title, and then getting into that snippet too. So it was super helpful. Awesome. So it's doing better than other things at this point upon listing. So we'll see how it goes, but early days. Okay. A little example. I don't know if you can give us an example of how a title or a description can impact a product's rating or ranking in TPT search. Any examples on how that might impact when it comes up?
So you mean just like your product rank, like how high up in the results?
Yeah. And this could vary at different times of the year too.
Yeah.
Different holidays and stuff like that.
It's funny. And as you were talking, and you were looking for the double green lights, and obviously that is that's the golden keyword, right? Those are what you want. You want those double green lights, but I don't want to discount just going for low competition keywords. And that's something that, I think we as sellers, we want to go for what's searched for the most. But if you're looking to make sales, you also want to make sure that you're able to be competitive. So I think those are, so definitely don't discount that. But as far as just, what will help is the whole idea behind this is optimizing, right? And that's also, it's not a set it and forget it type of thing. You need to constantly be looking at how you're doing and then making tweaks along the way. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, totally. Well, here's another question. I had heard once upon a time, because your title is part of the URL.
Yep.
Should we not touch our titles because then it kind of reworks the whole search process?
I personally, since I've only had a store for 2 years, I haven't done too much of that kind of testing.
Sure.
I don't really know. And one of the things as I created this tool, and you hear lots of different tips and like, well, don't change your titles and descriptions too much. Don't do this. In my experience is I never want to be scared to try to make changes that'll impact it for the better. I'm not going to change something every day. I don't think that's a good practice. I don't think it'll give TPT enough time to learn, to relearn what you're trying to tell it. But I would I always am in favor of optimizing and making changes if you think it's going to be better and bring in more qualified people to view the product.
Totally. And I know how I search for stuff as a teacher on TPT. I'm not like going on Google to search. I would usually go to TPT. And so that Google ranking, I think, is what would be affected if we're doing that. The TPT specific algorithm would be, just what our keywords are, what our titles are, hopefully. So another thought. I did want to pull up, and I needed to log in, so that's why I took it away. But my kind of search for a keyword. So this is what Sellerspy's keyword generator tool looks like. And so if I search spring writing, and you hear Colleen and I saying a double green or a 2 green light kind of keyword, that would be spring writing craft. It's high in popularity and low in competition. Am I reading that right, Colleen?
You got it.
Cool. Okay, so a lot of these are very popular right now because as upon filming, it's March. And so if we search, Christmas writing, it's probably going to be lower in popularity and high competition. Oh,
nice.
High popularity. Oh, maybe people are like doing some sale shopping. I don't know.
So these are just writing. So you can see the keywords. So Christmas isn't even trending. So the thing, the keyword generator, it's real time. So it's kind of based off of the TPT search bar as far as what's popular right now. So it's not going to give you Christmas stuff if Christmas isn't being searched. So this is where the real time versus, kind of a history, over the last 12 months, there'll be a difference. The keyword explorer, which is, I know it's in the paid version, that'll give you more of an average over the year, and soon we'll also have trending month over month. So that's where you'll get more of
I love it. Okay, well, cool. So based on this, including things like writing paper with picture box, Christmas version, or whatever upon what's helpful or whatever you're creating, that would be something to look for. So very cool. Thank you. And that's really cool that, we don't even have to take into account those kind of external things like seasonal words. All right. So what are some of the ways that Sellerspy is helping us list products in a more effective way? We saw the keyword tool. What else is there?
So really, there's 2 types of tools. There's productivity tools, and then there's obviously keyword analysis tools. So the productivity tools, there's a description generator and a product idea generator, and those are AI tools to really, help speed up some of the labor-intensive processes. And so those are the productivity tools, and then the analysis tools, obviously the free keyword generator, and then we have 2 other tools. The generator and the keyword explorer tool are all based off of what TPT shows in that suggestion bar, and what they are tracking as popular terms. But that we also have the a keyword insights where you can put anything in there, and we'll kind of provide an analysis on how difficult that keyword is. So,
that's awesome.
So yeah, and the the description generator, it is an AI tool, and you never want to just copy and paste it in, and you want to edit it, but you can't really write
Say that
until
louder.
Yeah, don't copy and paste the same stuff. Right? You still, yeah. But it gets you halfway there. It gets you that, it gives you a framework of saying, hey, this is what an engaging snippet with, or first paragraph is, and whatnot. So hopefully they help people out. I find them helpful and useful. So.
And especially as you're starting out, just getting in that rhythm, because it is a different style of writing. I know I don't typically write like this. I'm not looking for like boom, 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 keyword in the first 2 sentences. You want it to be legible, but you also want it to be effective. So having that style, that, mentality of like block of really, really high powered keywords, and then get into the details once you've gotten them through those first 2 sentences. Is this really what they want?
Yeah. And for new sellers, particularly, I can't even tell you, you go in a lot of the Facebook groups. It's like, hey, can you guys check out my store? You look at the products, they have a good title, whatever, nothing in the description. And I'm like, you got to put in, like, even just related products or just anything, how to use it in the classroom or with your kids or whatever. So, it in that aspect alone, it's a good teaching tool for new sellers too. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just to shout out, Bearwood Labs has a related products generator. Yeah. Amazing and very quick to use. So you put in your URL, they'll make a nice little, emojied list of your products that are related. You get to choose what it is. And that's a quick and easy thing to put in there. So very cool. Okay. Well, you mentioned a lot of sellers in Facebook groups and stuff like that. I'm connected to a group of TPT sellers, and they had a lot of questions for you. So we're going to hop over to those questions now. One of them mentioned the rank finder. Another one of your free tools is figuring out where your product ranks. If it ranks in the first few pages, it'll show up. Mm-hmm. So if someone puts in their page, their product, and then their product doesn't come up too high, what would you suggest they do?
I mean, the first thing I would do is look at what I'm using in my title and description, and like, really, what keywords am I focusing on? I would do research on them. Okay. Are they too competitive? Like, am I just not ever gonna get there because there's 1 million products using this same main keyword? And that's not to say you can't use that keyword, but, change it up, add some other stuff. You have 80 characters. Let's, try to add more that will get you some more visibility. I like to use a mix of low competition and medium popularity, medium competition keywords in my titles to try to capture as many people as possible.
Cool. And I would also add, if it is saturated there, tweak something in your product to make it stand out. I have a card game that they're out there, but I added a QR code and a whole vocab lesson to it. That was really easy to make, but that's a vocab lesson. That's a huge added bonus to a teacher who picks it up. So definitely something to think about tweaking. Okay. Another person said they are just using the free tools right now, but they would love to know how to use them effectively. Again, we've talked about the keyword generator. We talked about the rank finder. Any other things that we haven't touched on yet in terms of those tools?
No, I think really what it comes down to is looking at where, what your best sellers are, or what you think your best sellers are, and really just trying to find the best keywords for that product. The good thing about the keyword generator is that it's free. You search as many times as you want. And there's an endless supply of keywords that you can find. Now, I would just continue to dig into the data there. It's actually one of my favorite things to do. I send out an email every Friday to my email list with a low competition keywords. And it's like my favorite thing to do is like prepping these. It's like finding those needles in a haystack. And if you like data like me, if you're a dork like me, but they're there. You just have to do a little bit of digging. And that would be my advice. Just get comfortable with the tools, get comfortable with looking at the data and which ones are gonna work for you, and then test them out.
Absolutely. And those emails, you guys, if you're not signed up for that email list on Fridays, so fun. I open those up every time and I'm like, what is there? Could anything apply? So very helpful, super helpful. Okay, another person said with more popular words, keywords, something like a multiplication chart, pretty popular product. I struggle to find a title that isn't saturated but is popular with buyers. Google Bard, the AI that Google has created, suggests slightly more conversational titles, but people say to stick with factual ones that describe what the buyers are getting. Some research shows that things are moving toward more conversational tone, like people use when they talk to Alexa. What do you think? Is this the way we should be titling our searches, our products?
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic question. And, I don't think that any of us really knows what kind of voice search is going to do to the whole search scene, whether it's Google, TPT, Etsy, wherever. But I think what we can assume is that the suggested terms and the search volume for more conversational sounding terms, we'll start seeing those search volumes go up, and we'll know that will be the indicator that, like, hey, this is how more people are searching. It's kind of like, when you looked at Google Analytics like 20 years ago, or not 20 years ago, but you see mobile going up and desktop going down, or you'll see change, as more people adopt that style, you'll start seeing those. But I don't think we're there yet. I don't think it's good enough yet. I don't think the transcribing is good enough yet. I don't, someone even sent me a voice text today. I was like, I have no idea what this is. But I do think the tools that we use, whether it's Keywords Everywhere or the TPT search bar at Google, auto suggest, I think it'll show us once that starts happening.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. So again, technology always changes. Pay attention to the data. Follow the data, see what's out there. Yep. Okay, another piece of data, conversion rates. If we're spending any time on our dashboard, we're looking at our activity, we're looking at our statistics, a conversion rate. What's a good conversion rate, and should we increase or decrease our prices accordingly? What would you say?
Yeah, this is a tough one. And I think I think it will differ store to store how niche down you are. My conversion rates typically are 6-7%. Sometimes I've seen them as high as 11, and it changes during the time of year too. But if you're a new seller, I would test different prices and see where it falls as far as your conversion rate. You don't want to kill your sales. But again, it's all about the data. And that's, I guess, the overall lesson is don't ignore the information at your fingertips. There's tons of free tools, and there's your sales dashboard. Use them to make data informed decisions. And that's what I'm all about. That's what Sellerspy is about. So it's really just reading your own performance and adjusting as you go.
And I think probably the buzzkill answer to this is it takes time to know what's going to come up. I'm approaching my 1 year on TPT, and I'm so excited to put that overlay chart and see the hills and valleys, And so I'm really excited to see what that looks like, because I know they've gone up, because there were a couple quiet months there at the beginning. But having that data will give me a wealth of information to then make more decisions based on what I see. So. All right, cool. Okay, a bunch of us also sell, not just on TPT, but on other places like Classful, let's see, Teach Simple, our own stores, that sort of thing. So what do you think? Do a lot of these keywords have overlap elsewhere? Can we kind of rely on them, or would you say think differently for different platforms?
I don't have a ton of experience with the other platforms. Sellerspy really just focuses on TPT. It's pretty much, the main marketplace right now. Even though there are some up and comers, but I would say that if a term is trending on TPT, I would assume that it's also trending on the other platform. So, take it with a grain of salt, but you can assume that. You can also use Google as a good guide as well. I mean, Google is still there. I was talking to a teacher, one of my friends yesterday, and she's like, "Oh, I just go to Google first," and like she doesn't even go to TPT to search. I was like, "Okay, that to me, but that's what people do." So yeah. I mean, you can use Google keyword analysis tools like Keywords Everywhere to see trends, and I think that'll give you a good guide.
Absolutely. Okay. Rockin'. Well, let's get back to Sellerspy in itself. a lot of us are thinking about investing in our business. You know, a lot of times people will talk about seeing results on TPT coming from when you actually start treating it like your job, like a business. It's not just throwing something up there and seeing what'll sell. So when we start to make investments back into our business based on sales, we can kind of allocate a percentage to invest back to help with advertising, productivity, analytics tools, that sort of thing. And it's actually really helped me grow as I've done that. But what do you think? Why do you think these tools, some of them are free, but some are paid, pay off in the end? Why is it important to keep investing in our stores?
Well, I think for me, it's if you want to keep growing, you want to make data-based decisions. I mean, that's what I have always done. You know, if you know that you have a great email list, you're going to invest in email templates. If you know your website is a huge converter, you're going to invest in tools to increase those conversions. You know, if your TPT is going to be one of the search engine that's going to drive traffic to your products on TPT, you want to make the best decisions on TPT. So that's it's the same reason why big companies invest in big business intelligence software and data analytics. So I would say that, the good thing about the free tools, like, get your feet wet and get comfortable with SEO and the whole idea around keywords and optimizing for it. And that's the good thing about the free tools, is that, this isn't easy. It's not like you can just jump right in sometimes, and everyone has different skill sets. So get used to it. And if it's something that you see is benefiting you, then make a bigger investment. But there are free tools there. There's free trainings out there. So, I would just start that way.
Absolutely. I agree. And this is something that I've kind of built my business on, because it doesn't make sense to invest in a lot when you're not making money. That's a bad decision. Don't do it. I feel like a couple of friends and I have kind of grown up in the past few years doing this. They said, oh, I've worked over $100 for this thing, or I paid $50 and I'm roped into this. And I'm like, oh no, start with the free version. That's the beauty of it. So kind of doing your homework, doing your research, and figuring that out. So I love it. Okay. So Colleen, this is no longer a blindfolded bowling match, thankfully, unless you want it to be.
No.
Unless that sounds fun to you. It does not sound fun to me. So if you guys are watching this and you're like, okay, I think I really want to actually strike, get those pins, snag these free tools. As Colleen mentioned, she has that Friday email. Do you want to go into that a little bit more? So you said it's a high performing keyword.
Sure. Yeah. So every Friday, actually, I send out an email to my email list. And if you follow me over on Instagram, I also put a post up every Friday as well with a different set of keywords. And really I start with a seed keyword, and I pull out the low competition popular terms related to that. And I send it out to my email list saying, like, hey, these are free for someone to pick up and roll with it. And it was so exciting. My favorite is when they're like, I use this, and someone, even though it was a free product, she goes, I made this and it's already been downloaded 118 times. I was like, that's amazing. Add that to a bundle, get more visibility on it. You know what I mean? Like there's so many things you can do too, with those keywords and just getting more eyes on your store and all different products. So when you optimize for those, so.
Oh my gosh. Well, you guys, if you haven't yet, head over to sellerspy.co and you can check out those free tools, play around with it, put it on your what is that called? Bookmark bar. Leave it up there for when you post your next product. Play around with it, see how it goes, and change those up. That's what I've been doing. That's my whole focus. I haven't really talked about this much, but this year I'm going to do a whole new thing with my TPT store, because last year I spent a lot of time creating. Now I need to really figure out how to sell these things well. And this is going to be a big part of it, I think. So thank you, Colleen, for creating an amazing tool like this. Thank you for using your gifts well. It sounds like this has been something really helpful for people. Well, as we wrap up, something that I like to ask people is kind of what you're looking forward to in the next 6 months. Could be something personal, something fun, or something businessy, or both. What do you got what are you looking ahead to?
So I've really been focusing on just marketing this product for the past, since the summer. I'm actually looking forward to creating products soon. I started a store in October to kind of make sure that, what I was providing was helpful. And I've started making money on this new store, but I haven't had the time to focus on it. So I'm really excited to do that. And I really like to craft. So I'm going to do that too. Those are my two things. So, personal.
What kind of products are you going to make?
So I have two stores. So I have my a troop leader store for Girl Scout troop leaders. And then I also have a religious education products. I also sell on Amazon KDP. So a lot of them go hand in hand. So yeah.
Very cool. That's awesome. Well, very cool. You guys go check out Colleen's stores. Please give me those links too. We'll make sure we link those below so you can check those out if you're interested in those products, as well as sellerspy.co, and get on that Friday email train. That is a fun one to get. Colleen, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks for doing what you've done. And for those of you who are watching, thank you. Thank you for doing what you're doing. It's really important. Happy teaching, guys.